Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the PowettPlay Podcast. It's me, Jordan Shannon, and as always, I'm joined by Kieran Powell. How are you, Kai?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. Um, I think the weather played a massive part in the game yesterday. It looked like it was, you'd probably say, obviously, that the favour was in the West Indies to win the second ODI. What did you make?
As I said, after the first ODI, these are the best one-day players that we have. So
Yeah,
I think that they definitely were undercooked. I think that you started to see a bit more of, I guess, what they can do.
yeah,
Obviously, I think there's still a few guys that are still looking rusty, but starting to turn around now.
yeah, definitely. And I think you could see that with the way that the partnership with Keacy Carty and Shea really it was going well because the more times we were spending at the crease, you could tell we are getting used to the pace of the ball, the movement was and various bits like that. And it was a brilliant knock from Keacy Carty.
Uh, I mean, there's so much I could say about Casey, but no, very, very, very happy for
Yeah,
what he's doing, where he is personally. I mean, it's unfortunate, I guess, how stuff would have gone in Test cricket, and I still think that he can crack Test cricket if he wants to crack Test cricket. But this is sort of why I've been sort of saying for the past, let's say, month or so that I'd like to see him with a bit more responsibility as well because
yeah,
his
you have to have that.
batting is in a very good place in 50 over cricket at the moment.
Yeah,
Probably us, well, definitely our second most consistent player after Shea. Probably our most consistent player at this point in time because Shea's not really been having, I guess, about the best year or so
yeah,
of late. But Casey and Sherfield and Rutherford have been absolutely flying, and just happy to see his continued growth, his continued evolution. I think back to what probably should have been his first ODI century in Australia when him and Hayden Walsh, of all things, two Leeward Islanders, and
yeah.
he got run out. And I remember what that was like when they came back. Well, that was quite funny. Asking about that, but um, to see him go to Australia, do well there, did well in Sri Lanka. I think he got an 80 something. I think that was the end of the qual in Zimbabwe, sorry, against Sri Lanka on the
Right, yes,
qualifiers.
yeah,
He's got a 90 something against Bangladesh, and now he's got two centuries as well. So, he's threatening to score a lot of centuries, which is a very good thing, and that's what you want from your number three batter. So I
I'm gonna
think
say at number
now
three.
the
Yeah,
team is in a very stable position because you've got a consistent, reliable number three that looks as though he has the full package to score against all types of bowling attacks in all conditions as well.
yeah,
So extremely happy for Casey. He's continuing to grow as an individual and as a player. And as I said, the only thing that I can add to Casey right now is more responsibility and see him sort of starting to captain teams at the regional level, at the A team level, and potentially even become the West Indies vice captain because you don't want to end up in a situation like what the Test team just did,
yeah.
trying to identify players when you have someone that's really striving at the moment and is still relatively young. He's what, 27, 28 years old.
Yeah.
So you've got potentially the next 6 to 10 years. Not sorry, 8 to 10 years of Casey playing
Yeah.
international cricket. And I think that that leadership, that added responsibility will also help his batting as well. Think about the game from
Of
different
course.
perspectives whilst on the field. So that can even take him to another level, which is even more beneficial
Fantastic.
to,
Yeah.
to him and West Indies cricket. But
Yeah,
very happy
definitely.
for where he is and what he's doing.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think he has some of the leadership traits that we've spoken about before?
Um, I don't think it necessarily comes as naturally to him, but I do think that he can do it.
Yeah.
Again, it's something that he'd want to do. I think that he's over the past 2 years, he's changed a lot in terms of taking on responsibility and
Yeah.
stuff as well. So like it's something that he is more open to.
Yeah.
And again, I think that comes with you being more comfortable with
Yeah.
yourself and your position.
Yeah,
not only within regional teams, but with your position within international teams and the setup and obviously being more settled now. So
yeah,
I think that, with all of that, that allows him to not worry about if I get one or two low
yeah,
scores, am I going to play tomorrow? You're going to play. You're
yeah.
going to be
You're
playing
going to, yeah, you're at number three.
for
Yeah,
quite some time. So I think that he doesn't have to worry about that, and that allows him now to, as I said, take on other responsibilities as well,
yeah.
holistically for a team.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's like maturity aspect as well that comes with it.
Yeah.
You mentioned there, obviously, the 2 year period. There's a maturity of situations that happen, in life in general. And I think obviously it's come together nicely for him. And like you said, you had that responsibility to him. It could take him to that next level, which would be a massive advantage for everybody in the Caribbean, which is what you want to is what you want. I don't think we can. Well, we definitely won't be moving past the fact that Matthew Forde was superb at the back of the innings, joining AB de Villiers with the fastest ODI 50. When I was watching the game and Roston and Justin was batting together, I was thinking they need to about trying to push on here really, and thinking that at that point they're looking at if they was going to go low 300s really, and we didn't know whether that would have been a defendable, because the wicket looked like it was solid at that point. But that firepower that we've spoke about again, that the West Indies have always had that in that side, that firepower, and the fact that he's continued his regional form and it's coming to that, it was really, really good to see.
And I think that's where having a stable person like Casey at three
Yeah,
allows for that type of innings to be played
yeah,
more often, because you've got a foundation, you've got a solid platform
yeah,
where you can then go in and express yourself, because it's not going to be a situation where you're hardly ever going to get bowled out, so you can
yeah,
go all guns blazing at the end. But as we've been speaking about Matthew Forde from since the regional 40 tournament, I think that I really, really like what I've seen from him for the past, let's say, year or so. Like, he's shown that he's not only just a young, talented guy, but he's a fighter. Like,
yes,
he's got that inner like fighting nature where put him on a stage and he's going to try and do something to affect the game. We've seen
yeah,
that with him in Barbados this season, where obviously having the opportunity to bat for extended periods of time, he got a century, he got a 70 odd and won a game for Barbados against the Windward Islands in St. Lucia.
yeah,
And I think he averaged almost 40 with the bat. So
yeah,
um, he's continuing to show his all-round ability. It also shows the benefit of these white ball players playing in regional 40 cricket
yeah,
and having a lot of reps and consistency under their belt. So on getting a chance to develop and hone and understand their games a bit more. The only thing that I can say with Matthew Forde at this point in time is obviously trying to strike as much as possible with the new ball. His lengths are going to be important,
yeah,
especially in Ireland. I think even more so than here in England. I think the pitches are a bit slower.
yeah,
Obviously, the climates out there are a bit different to the
yeah,
climate here. So the pitches are a bit slow. The ball nibbles a bit more. So I think you have to be on the fuller side,
yeah,
almost sort of a 40 type length. But with Matthew Forde, he seems to pretty much have it covered. He's obviously a natural in swinger. He has a wobble seam that goes straight on. So you've got your variety there. And then tries a short ball every now and again. Pretty much
yeah.
all you want. Be consistent doing that. You get 2, 3 wickets a match, score a good 30 at the end. Happy days.
Yeah, thank you very much. And you mentioned there about the lengths. That's why I was obviously really disappointed, obviously, that the game didn't finish. So I was looking forward to seeing how, we spoke about how the batting developed from game one. I wanted to see how the bowling adapted from game one as well, really, because you mentioned there about the island bowlers, they do bowl a little bit slower. And you look at the dismissal of Brandon King. It was just, was it Brandon King? Yeah, he got caught at second slip, wasn't it? And it was just sort of that sort of mid 70s ball nipping away, sort of in between length, and I wanted to see whether what would develop from. I know it's only a day's difference, but following, picking up from what I needed to change. I know, do I need to go a bit fuller? Where are my lengths really? And you mentioned there about Matthew Forde. You know, it's just a shame that they didn't get that opportunity to get more overs in the legs because you mentioned about Matthew Forde's development from playing 4-day cricket and regional cricket. And obviously, that's what's. I know we spoke. I don't want to bring it back up again because we did speak about it a couple of days ago regarding Shamar Joseph, but it just goes to show that you have to be playing cricket to help that development. And I know we spoke about the IPL situation, and he's got to make a decision, but it. I really do feel for him at this moment in time, Shamar Joseph, because of the game time situation, and then with them losing another, not being able to bowl yesterday, and then you go into the game tomorrow. It's like you've already got through your 50 over trip to Ireland already, if that makes sense.
I mean, sorry for him. Not so much so. It's not. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say I'm feeling sorry for him.
No,
That's down to his personal choices in
yeah,
terms of how his preparation went. Probably needs to, as I said, start making, I guess, better choices for himself long term as
yeah,
opposed to the immediate future. I think that will definitely help his overall growth because, as you said, like he's not, which is more concerning for me. It's not this island tour, but just holistically, he's not playing enough cricket.
no,
For someone that's probably been around for 2 years now, he's played, let's say, 10 first class matches, including test matches, sorry.
including the test matches, yeah.
And what's that, 2 to 3 ODIs?
Mm,
That's just simply not enough cricket for you
no,
to continue to develop. And so I think that really needs to be looked into the amount of cricket that he's not getting based on, I guess, the decisions that he's making.
yeah. Do you see, weather permitting, because it is looking a bit iffy over in Ireland tomorrow, do you see any changes to the side?
So I have dabbled with this in my head for a bit.
That's not like
I
you.
think there could be a host of possibilities. Um, with that host of possibilities, that doesn't mean that there's going to be a lot of changes, but there's a host of things that can happen. So I see potentially a Brandon King getting rested, not dropped.
Nice,
Understand? Because
nice
I think
term.
it's not genuinely rested that this is not dropped. I'm not
Yep,
dropping Brandon King, but obviously I think that he's still adjusting to the
yep,
conditions and they can probably pull him and just work with him on in the nets and prepare him for the England series
yep,
because he's obviously still way ahead reaching for the ball as opposed to letting it come
yep,
a bit deeper because of the pitches being that much slower and having not played that much cricket of recent time
yep.
and the bowlers being slow. So I see a potential where Brandon King gets rested. Justin Greaves goes up to open the batting.
Right, okay.
Remember, he does that
Yep,
in the regional 50 over competition. And Joel Andrew coming in the middle. Um,
okay.
or or the other swap that I can potentially see is two left-handed openers switching out. Again, just a rest for Evan Lewis and bringing in John Campbell.
Right,
Um, those are the only two things that I could see or I could envision happening.
right.
So if it's a Brandon King getting rested, then it's going to be obviously a Justin Greaves going up, a Joel Andrew coming in.
Yep,
If it's a Evan Lewis, then it's just going to be a straight
yep,
John Campbell swap.
yep.
It's not going to affect the batting order.
No,
Mind you, if and this is for me, if Brandon King were to be rested, keep harping on about it. Shea Hope has to go back to opening
I'm
the
just gonna say,
batting.
yeah,
I do not like Shea Hope at number 4 personally. He's been our best opening batter statistically, barring hundreds. Just statistically, he's been our best opening batter in 50 over cricket. He needs to go back to opening the batting.
yeah,
Control the game from the top. You want to bat as many balls as possible. I don't
yeah,
want him to come in and have to fix situations. I want him to stop situations from happening.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and so I'd like to see him. opening the batting. Bring Justin Greaves up to 4, leave Django at 5, and let Joel Andrew bat at 6 with Roston Chase as cover at 7.
at 7. Yeah.
If Brandon King is rested, or else there's no change and the team stays as it is.
Is there? I think we did actually cover it. Is there an option for the Brandon King and Shea to swap in the same 11?
Well, remember I mentioned
That's
that
what I'm saying. You did,
at
didn't
the
you?
start, before the series started. I think that should be the change. I think Shield needs to go up to opening the batting, and Brandon King needs to come in at number 4. I think Brandon
Yeah.
King's a better player of spin bowling. I think Shope's a better player of the new ball than Brandon King is. And the stats today to show he's got what 10 to 13 ODI centuries,
Yeah.
averaging 59 point something as an opening batter.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It speaks for
that's
itself.
a no brainer for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then leading into the England series, do you see Hetmeyer coming straight in?
Uh Depends on how Django goes in the next ODI. I think Hetmeyer would probably start on the bench. He's someone that I keep harping about. I'm not happy how his career has been mismanaged, mishandled from a West
Yeah.
Indies standpoint. It seems as though there was like a personal vendetta against him at one point to get him out of the team, which, and this is just a young man that was extremely talented
Yeah.
and, started on the international scene better than probably most that we've had in recent times. He's still got 5 ODI centuries, if I'm not mistaken. And then at one point in time, there were so many things made up and fabricated about this young man for whatever reason. I mean, I have my own thoughts on as to why they did this and to push different players. You had to get him out of the way. So it's pretty sad what happened. But I think that he would probably start on the bench. Django would probably start in England, and Hetmeyer would come in if Django doesn't go well, because I think that the balance of the team, the composition of the team leads to Sammy will want that left-hander in the middle order.
Yeah.
So it will be Hetmeyer or Django. I'm not sure that both will play, given that Keacy Carty, Shea Hope, Justin Graves has gone pretty well so far. We've got Matthew Forde as well. So I think that it's going to be Hetmeyer starting on the bench maybe for at least the first game.
Mm. Positive though. You mentioned there about how he is only 28 still, which is a positive. He seems to have been around for a while, so you do you know uh, look past sometimes. Hey, he's still only 28. As we're looking, as in now after the two ODIs, what are your biggest? Well, I say a game and a half really, but what have been your biggest sort of takeaways so far?
Preparation is key to anything in life.
Yeah,
And we talked about the preparation for the series. Obviously, they had like a few days in Ireland beforehand, but I've seen this with like this batch of players, whether it be ODI or Test cricket. If you give them the right preparation, they perform.
yeah,
You look at what they did in Australia. You look at what they did against England in the Caribbean, the ODI team. I'm talking about the Test team in Australia.
yeah,
Um, you give them the right preparation, these guys go and perform. So I think that obviously, again, as I said, the international calendar is such that you've got guys off here, there, and everywhere, but the
yeah,
guys that you do have at home need to be coming together for a camp before you travel. They probably should have played a warm-up game in Ireland at the very least before
yeah,
this series started. I think, again, what I found interesting is that both teams that have batted first have scored in excess of
yeah,
300. So I think tomorrow both captains will be looking to win the toss and have a bat. Um, but no, preparation.
yeah,
That's more so than anything else. As I said, this is barring a few players, our best set of audio players available to us at this point in time. I do like sort of the composition of the A team in terms of the middle order. Obviously, I've seen Kevlin Anderson, Kevin Wickham,
Yeah.
Shakir Paris. I've been talking about those
Yeah.
three guys in collaboration with the Joel Andrew that I think will form the basis of the middle order for the West Indies for some time in
Yeah.
the future. So it's good to see those guys getting opportunities out there. They play again today.
Yeah.
So no preparation.
Yeah, I can't argue, with that at all. And I think that, um, we're looking. I just hope the weather plays ball tomorrow so we can see, a good game of competitive cricket, really, and more so just, the run out and help with that preparation going into the England game. Because as we touched on at the very start, you need to be winning these games so we get that qualification for the World Cup. So there's a lot more to it than just, going through the motions a little bit with it. There's you know, a big objective at the end of it, really. But it's good to, when when you talk about preparation, you talk about breaking it down. And I really enjoyed the piece at the start then when you're speaking about Keacy Carty because, some of the, obviously you played with him and you know him, you speak about the responsibilities and stuff. And we've had the chats a few weeks ago about leadership and what it helps. And you spoke about Roston and you've seen, we believe that the added responsibility will help him go to that next level as well. And it's quite interesting when you to hear your views on responsibility and the impact it has on players and things. So yeah, I appreciate that.
100%. No. Just looking forward to the next ODI. I know obviously it's must-win game for the West Indies in terms of the series being 1-0 to Ireland, weather
Yeah,
affecting second game. Obviously, I predicted 2-1 to the West Indies. So, I mean, obviously, it can only be 1-1
yeah,
now at this point in time, which I guess is probably a good thing in the sense that it makes the West Indies series against England that much more important for
yeah,
both teams because I think both teams are ranked ninth and eighth, respectively. England having a new captain, a relatively inexperienced ODI team.
yeah,
So it's gonna be a balanced series. I think it's gonna be a high scoring series because the pitches are pretty dry and flat.
yeah,
I mean, the way that the English go about playing ODI cricket at this
of
point in
course.
time, so it's going to be high scoring affair. But as I said, two relatively inexperienced teams, and it's going to be a very good battle because I think that if I were England, I'd be very cautious of an Evan Lewis in particular when he comes here. I remember the last time he played, he scored 176 and got injured at the Oval,
Mm,
and it was just amazing ball striking. And I'm
yeah,
I'm I'm pretty sure, based off of the series he had against them in the Caribbean as well,
yeah,
he's going to be
didn't he?
looking to do some serious damage as well.
Yeah. No. Well, we'll touch base after the game tomorrow. And then we can obviously then have a bit of a preview conversation leading into, I think it's Wednesday or Thursday. I think the first one's in Birmingham on Thursday, if I remember rightly. So we'll have a bit of a look ahead to the series, dissect England's squad as well, and look into what we think as well. So let us know as well, people, what you think of, the changes. Do you see any changes coming into tomorrow? And what you made of the two ODIs so far? So do let us know in the comments. And I know I keep harping on about it, but we do appreciate you all liking it and sharing it. It's brilliant. So thank you so much.
Like, comment, subscribe, share. Remember those four things every time.
Cheers, Guy.
Cheers, Jordan.